Good evening, it's 7 o'clock. Welcome to the St Melian International Resort in the Tamar Valley, just a few miles from Plymouth. I'm Michael Checker, live on BBC Radio Devon tonight. We're here to turn the spotlight on the justice system. We have a panel of guests drawn from all manner of backgrounds. You'll meet them in just a moment. But first, please welcome our host this evening, chairing the panel, journalist Philip Hayton.
Thank you and welcome to A Question of Justice. This is part of Devon and Cornwall's contribution to the nationwide Inside Justice Week. Crime is on our minds more than ever. Surveys show only our sick economy worries us more. So what's gone wrong? The Shadow Home Secretary said the other day, and I quote, "People think our criminal justice system is broken. The system worries too much about the criminals and not enough about the justice." Okay, I'd like to bring in one of our panelists we haven't heard much from so far, Elliot Perkins. Racism. I'm surprised it's much of a problem in the far southwest. One imagines that racism where it exists is inner cities and things like that. What is your question to the rest of our panel about how racism fits into the criminal justice system?
Well, I mean, the views I expressed, I think, at the beginning is the way in which the criminal justice system at the moment is engaging over the issue of racism, whilst on the one hand desirable and commendable, and we welcome that. I think my main concern, I'd like to hear sort of views from other panel members, maybe about the nature in which this is done, and I think bearing in mind that we have the sort of institutional experience of racism, where the language can tend to alienate, can tend to racialize itself, can tend to objectify, and then also, as we've touched on already, Alan mentioned about the community organizing side of that, how to organize racism out of our society through these sort of grassroots initiatives, and how the interplay between those two sides can be negotiated, maybe, would be an interesting...
Let's hear from our magistrate here, Hazel, Poad. Do you detect that racism is an issue today in Plymouth?
If you would asked me that about 10 years ago, I'd have said absolutely no. There has become an element of racism in Plymouth, and I would have said no 10 years ago because we really didn't have many people from ethnic minorities in this area. I think that has grown, and yes, it can be a problem. So as far as our court is concerned, we're doing all we can. As far as individual racist activities, I think we're always going to have that, sadly. I don't know how you can stop people thinking the way they do, or individuals. But certainly in our court, and as far as I'm aware in the criminal justice system in Plymouth, we don't have an issue.
Tracy, do you want to come in here?
I can tell you that in Devon and Cornwall last month, we prosecuted 21 crimes, varying sorts, that are what we call racially aggravated crimes. Of that, we were successful in 14, so we lost 7. There are more out there. What we all have to work to do is to make our various bodies more open to get people to come to us, because I think that we've got a massive underreporting, an absolute massive underreporting, because the various agencies are not trusted, and what Elliot's been saying is right, because we perhaps are not engaging with the people who need to come forward and need to make the complaints, and we need to support them more. And what we have done here is we are running, the LCJB run a race hate scrutiny panel, where we get members of our communities from all over the peninsula to look at actually what we are doing. They quality assure exactly what we're doing. They feed back to us, and we're using that. It's early days, but we're using that as a start to try and have a conversation with communities so that we can give them a service.
My name's Kerry Nason. I'm from Devon and Cornwall probation area, and I just wanted to pick up on what the panel member just said, in that the probation service, which we haven't mentioned tonight, does work very hard with hate crime of any description, and we do have specialist programmes where we work specifically with race hate crime. And I would welcome any interaction between ourselves in terms of how we improve that service.
Yes, and since you're from the probation service, what about this? I mean, we've heard, I think, from some of the panellists that it would be better to put more people into the community for sentencing than into prison. How would you cope with that?
I think that we have to get better at targeting who should be in prison and who should be out. And also with the probation service, I mean, I can only speak in terms of the probation service, is that we need to be targeting those who actually really need the intervention. At the moment, we're getting a lot of low-risk offenders, i.e. low risk of reoffending, coming into probation service when actually they can be dealt with in a different way, i.e. through curfew, through senior attendance centres, through other...
But that's very intensive, isn't it, the supervision of those sort of people?
It is, and that's why we're saying that intensive supervision needs to be restricted, really, for people who can really benefit from it and actually prevent them reoffending.
Okay. The debate will continue. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening, and goodbye.